The guy I'm just about to introduce to the stage for our champions in business interview, he's a man by the name of Gavin Sloan. He runs a business called Live Chat Monitoring. I mean, we just heard a moment ago from Martin, who's an authority on digital, and how is it that you ensure there's that human touch, that human element. When you're asleep, your business is awake in this day and age 24/7. It's awake via the digital space being, let's call it your website, and how it interacts and how it makes it easy for people to connect, get sticky, get entangled, as Martin said. So in this business, Live Chat Monitoring, that started as an idea, let's call it 3 years ago. 18 months ago, it got to a critical point and then it needed to reevaluate and rethink, hang on, what are we doing and who are we doing it for? So in the last 14 months, this business has had 2,600%. Even if they started at $1, that's an amazing percentage growth. Now let's just say they didn't start at $1. So 14 months ago, it was a business that was at a certain point, and since then it has grown 2,600%. It has gone from 2 staff members to 46 in the same time. It is expanding globally. They have clients. This business has clients in Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada, and the UK. It originally started as a company offering live chat software from a perspective of software as a service versus the gap that was realised to be a quality service-based offering. So there's a distinct difference, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that in a moment. Our client base covers finance, legal, medical, accommodation, tourism, e-commerce, trades and services, real estate, home builders, funeral services, dare me say, and relationship matchmakers, I believe, too. So we've got it all covered, from the ones that are dead or the ones that are needing to spark up a relationship. We are doing a sales aspect, a sales arm of a business. This is a classic business that is, in my world, referred to as an outsourced model, an outsourced bolt-on to complement your current in-house resources. So without further ado, let's hear Gavin Sloan and our champion in business for April M500.
Nice.
2,600%.
Yes.
Sounds like a big number.
It does sound like a big number.
How does the bank account look?
Healthier than it has looked in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I guess let's start from the perspective when Live Chat Monitoring was, 14 months ago at about $5,000 a month, just to put some relevancy around the numbers. What was the end game? What were you thinking at that point as a critical crossroad?
Look, I had a goal for this business to grow it to a point where I could earn $2,000 a month. That was my that was a goal. It was a side business, and that was my ambition. It was never to grow it beyond that, or I didn't really have any vision on where it could go. It was more about just, can I make a little bit of money on the side from this, and is it viable? So that was the goal back then.
So it was more of a hobby.
Well, I wouldn't say a hobby. It was an add-on to another business that I was involved in, and it was more about assisting some other clients I had. So it was filling a need for certain clients I had for live chat software, and it was more a bolt-on. So it was kind of a value add that I was looking to add at the time.
So at the time of a moment of truth, and there was a moment of truth where you were going to be turning up and having a chat with the team.
Yep.
It was you, the mirror, and 2 other people.
Yes.
Right, and you had a vision for this. You could see there was a gap in the market.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you expand a little more on that crossroad? 40 months. I know you've been a board of directors
Sure.
12 client for just over 12 months now,
Sure.
and I'm not going to take the credit for your success, but
Sure.
it's fair to say that at that point we needed to make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. So for a long time, this business lost money. Again, it was a bit of a value add to an existing business. So it was losing money each month, which adds up. You can only sustain that for a little while. And I sort of reached a point where I couldn't keep losing money. I didn't have the money to keep tipping into this and to keep paying the staff. I knew that we had a good service and we had clients that enjoyed the service, but we were losing money. I couldn't convince other clients to try it. So I actually reached a point where I wrote a letter to the 2 staff members we had, letting them know that we were closing down, that we couldn't afford to keep going.
That's not an easy thing to do.
It's not. And I decided after 24 hours of sitting on it that we had a great team, small team, but very passionate about what we do, and I didn't want to let them down as well. So I decided to regroup and have another go, and dedicate more time and energy, and find a bit more money to tip into this. And I knew that if I gave it another 6 to 12 months of just pushing, that we'd get there.
Yeah. So at that particular point, what could have been, or what do you consider upon reflection? Because reflection is very important.
Sure.
I know it's it's one of those things when you believe in something and it's about to be broken, you've got to have the emotional, I guess, impact of that too, just to ensure that it's real. But what was holding you back then, Gavin, in real terms?
In real terms, look, it was probably lack of direction. I left. I'd always worked in environments where we were budget driven, and we had sales targets to reach, and I really thrived in that environment. And one of the first things I did when I left, I guess the corporate or the employed world, was I sort of threw my hands up and celebrated that I have no more budgets. There's no one going to say to me that, hey, you have to achieve this or you have to do that. But in doing so, you take your foot off the pedal. So I was very busy being busy, but I wasn't actually getting anywhere with it. So I think that to a large degree was sort of holding that there was no accountability of, I knew I was busy, and I knew obviously I want to get to over here, but there was no plan in place. There was no accountability of you must be here by this point, and then a week later, a month later, a day later, you must be at this point. So that's what I was missing, treading water to a large degree.
So what did you do to change that?
I had a conversation with Stefan. I've known Stefan for a long time, so I've known a lot of Stefan's clients over the years. I've referred a lot of people to Stefan who've got some great results. And I was actually saying to Damien earlier, it was a case of looking at some of the clients that I know that Stefan works with, some of the results they're getting, and thinking, I've known this guy for 7, 8 years now. Why are we not having those conversations? We catch up, we talk about business, we talk about markets, we talk about different things, but I want some of that success, and I know that it's down to the accountability and the things that they're learning, and I thought it's probably time that I crossed that divide and and sat in the room and actually got some coaching, which was not an easy bridge to cross, but one I knew I needed to make. Changes had to be made, so I made the decision and went with it.
What are the most important systems that you've put in place to, when there's two things that can make a business go broke, guys. One is not enough business, right? Not enough business generally leads to a lack of cash flow. Everyone's probably familiar with that one. The other biggest reason, or the most significant reason why businesses go broke, is too much business too soon. Right? You got to cash flow the growth, or you got to resource allocate the growth. So you've gone from 2 persons to 46. You've gone from number X to XXX, which is 2,600% greater. That represents what I would refer to as a gazelle pace business. It's a fast, quadruple-digit growth business, right? Not many businesses do that, and they generally get themselves to failure. What have you done in terms of systemization and rapid underlying base to beat that challenge?
Sure. Look, a lot of it's been, learning on the fly. That we're in an industry that's a fairly new industry, and there's not many people doing what we're doing. So there's no roadmap. We haven't had the ability to look at the guy down the road and say, here's what they've done right, here's what they've done wrong, and how do we fit in with that? How do we learn from their experiences? So a lot of the lessons we've had to learn sort of as we go, and essentially all of our systems have changed. We built certain systems, or we used certain systems that as we got busier, got tried and tested and ultimately failed. So it was probably about 6 months ago that we started to really get a grip on that and start planning ahead for not just the clients we've got now or a little bit of growth, but how do we manage when we're 10 times the size we are and 20 times and 50 times the size we are. So a lot of the system we changed, a lot of that's been customer led, because we're capturing leads for our clients and sending leads and customer inquiries through. We had to make sure that we were delivering on our promise, that our response times were quick, the leads that we were sending through were great quality, they were arriving on time. It was a matter of looking at, well, how do we best serve our customers, from their point of view, for them looking at us and them using our service, what do they need to get from us? How can we best serve them so that they keep paying us and stay with us and refer us to other clients, and designing all of our systems around that. So through that, it obviously made us a lot more efficient. We've got CRM systems in place. We've got ticketing systems so that we can track every inquiry, we can look things up, we can measure all of our response times, and through all of those KPIs within the business, we can measure the team and train the team and make bigger decisions on resourcing and when to put more staff on and where our pain points are as well and where we need to pay attention to based on the data that's coming in.
Yeah, so again, we hear the relevancy of having scoreboards, having data, trending, to be making the bigger and better and greater decisions. You know, we're not talking about going to the corner shop and deciding, do you want a ham sandwich or a salami sandwich. This is about growth in a fast-paced digital world where the data is going to ensure you're using logic way more than emotion. For which, you know, if you want to succeed a fast-paced, a fast-growth business, a gazelle-paced business, it's going to be in your systemisation and your ability to understand the data and be making decisions, not exactly 5 months or 6 months ahead of the curve. We're talking sometimes 5 weeks ahead of the curve because it's fast and it's furious, all right? What advice do you have for other small business owners who are currently struggling or looking, you know, they've got some fast growth coming, or to a certain degree, they've tried or had a go at something that maybe just needs a bit more structure, some accountability, some data management, some trending, all that stuff that makes the business owner activity way more prevalent than the technical, you know, I'm a great hairdresser growing a hairdressing business skill set.
In terms of what worked for me was probably a really healthy sense of paranoia, you know, around what are we doing right, but what are we doing wrong? Again, what do our customers need from us, and what do our future customers need, so that our whole business can be designed in a way that's very easy to buy. You know, we have minimal barrier to entry for new clients coming to us. You know, our pricing is you know, quite cheap for the service we provide. Our quality is higher than any of our competitors. You know, we've really designed our program with the end client in mind. So I think for anyone sort of at that crossroad, you've got to take a really honest look at where you're sitting. You know, what's right in the business, but what's wrong, and how do we fix it, and where do we go from here? And like, that's what's great when you can model off someone else who's been there before. So any other leaders in the industry that have been there, we unfortunately didn't have that option, but at the same time we knew where we were going. So we knew that we had the product and we had a great service. And we certainly spent a lot of time talking to our customers. I think that's probably the best feedback was, you know, making sure that, you know, for the cost of a cup of coffee with a client, go and get some honest feedback. You know, and invite them to be really critical and tell you everything that's wrong, because they'll tell you the nice things, but quite often won't tell you the worst. And we really encourage that feedback of, tell us where we could improve, tell us what we could do differently, and take that on board. You know, some of it's great advice, some of it you take with a grain of salt, but the ones that are relevant and will benefit more clients and make the business stronger, we work very hard to implement.
Strictly speaking, I mean, your model is very much an outsource, an extension of internal teams.
Yeah.
It's the after-hour support in the sales arm of a business. So from that perspective, we talk about client retention, which I know Live Chat Monitoring has a 95% current trend on client retention. In other words, the lifetime value is generally long, or it has continued to be long. We don't lose many clients in this business, which is something we all should be aiming for. But as an extended outsourced arm, particularly in the space of sales, which let's face it, is the only thing that puts money in, everything else takes it out.
Yes.
How is it that you continuously are training team that's not exactly sitting in the seat of the business they're representing? How are you, without giving too much IP away?
Yeah, sure.
Because this is going live. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think it has back to what I was saying earlier, and really understanding your customers. So we spend a lot of time in the beginning working through questionnaires with them, so we learn about their business. We're also very clear on what our role is. You know, we're not there to be experts in the business. We can't comment on how much stock is in the showroom or you know, or any technical aspects. We don't get involved in the sales process with our clients. You know, we're there to fill the need of providing that human touch point within the website. People like buying from people like dealing with people, and we make sure that we provide that 24/7, that people can engage with it. So part of that is training our team on what they need to know, again anticipating and flat out asking them. We ask every client, what do you need from us? How can we best serve you? What are you looking to get out of our service? What's the outcome that you're aiming for? And our service is set up to deliver that. So our team knows when they're chatting on a website on behalf of a client, they've got everything in front of them to know exactly, you know, what we can and can't say. The information's available to answer questions. We know the tone of voice the client wants us to use, whether it's a legal client who wants us to be strictly professional and stick to the script, or whether it's an e-commerce or another client that wants us to be a little bit more personable. The agents have everything in front of them. You know, we've tried to, similar to what I guess Martin was saying, we tried to design our systems. I use the analogy with all of our staff as designing our systems almost like McDonald's, you know, so that when McDonald's hires a 14, 15-year-old kid off the street and teaches him to make a hamburger, everything's in front of them. You know, there's photos step by step. They reduce their training time. They reduce their margin for error because they've put everything in front of their staff member and showed them this is step by step how you achieve the perfect result. So we work really hard to adopt the same sort of principles with our team of making everything available and making sure they have the training and resources to best serve the client for the end result.
And just I guess a question on, you know, we talk about marketing spend against revenue, that ratio, and it's an obvious ratio to be trending in your business. You know, the cost of acquisition of new clients, such a very important driver in a business. But I'm also of the opinion and the learnt and experienced position of knowing that you must also have exactly the same ratio understood and progressed in your business regarding the training of your team against revenue.
Yep.
So when you think about the investment in training of your team,
Sure.
to continue to grow the emotional selling proposition that continues to grow the tribal community selling proposition, what should be the ratio in your opinion?
Oh, look, that's a hard one to answer. I mean, training for us is ongoing. It's it's critical that our team is as knowledgeable as they can. Again, within the realm of what we deliver, we don't overstep the mark and we don't overpromise to clients. But within the realm of what we do, it's ongoing training. It's literally every day. You know, we've got different training happening for different teams on different clients, and every time a client updates their information with us, we have to go back and retrain the team to say, look, now the business is open on Sunday, or now they've included this product line, or now they've opened a new store we need to tell people about, or now there's a new sale event coming up. So training is critical. I think it's a never-ending process. I think in terms of a ratio, I probably couldn't answer that question. Probably more so because I wouldn't want to limit it to a figure. I think it's, again, you look at the end result and what you need to do to get there. So.
Yeah. So for anyone else in the room that hasn't got that answer either, let me just make a point. You better understand it, because it's a very important ratio in your business, the training of your team and the investment that goes into that for the return coming in the near future. A very important ratio, as is the marketing to revenue ratio. Where do you see live chat monitoring in the next 12 to 24 months?
Look, we're, our focus is growth at the moment, so we're obviously expanding to other countries at the moment. There's still a lot to do within our own backyard, but just continuing to grow. We're again investing in our systems and resources and team, and spreading the word about what we're doing. It's still a very new market for us. A lot of businesses still, unfortunately, don't have live chat on the site, but that's coming. But then to convince a business to not only take on live chat as a tool, but then also look at the option to outsource either after hours support or 24/7 if they're unable to do it themselves during business hours. There's a bit of an education process in the market. So as far as the next 12 to 24 months, continuing to grow. That's the path we're on.
And are you the type of business owner that puts a cap on growth?
No, I don't think you can. I think. And look, I've been involved in other businesses in the past where I think it's easy to get comfortable. I think for me personally, I again left employment to go into self-employment, and that's always a risk, and you take that on board, and you sort of weigh that up, and you jump in the deep end. But I think it's very easy to build a business up to a point, whatever that point may be, where you're comfortable. And I certainly work with a lot of other business owners who have been in business for 20, 30 years, and their whole philosophy on business seems to be maintaining the current level. What's changed in the market, and can we maintain our current income levels and our current team size and current business size? I don't tend to look at it in that way. I think I really feel like where we're at, we're just beginning. A lot of this has been a learning process and building up our foundation, I guess. So there's still a lot more work to be done, but I also feel like we haven't really started yet. It's early days.
Sounds exciting. Any questions?
If you have a standard WordPress template website, mobile accounts, is it easy to put a live chat monitoring on top of that?
Yeah, so it works across all, and same with live chat software versus what we do, which is a managed service. It works across all platforms, and it's a really simple. There's a lot of chat programs out there, again, separate to what we do, but all live chat software is just simply a matter of dropping a bit of JavaScript on it. It's a copy and paste, 3-second job. Great thing about WordPress is a lot of chat, and we use one as well, chat plugins that can be used, which make it even simpler. So it's just a matter of finding the plugin and hitting the install button. So it takes a few seconds.
Thanks, Tony. Good question.
Can I just, so we can understand your business, are you a little bit like if we wanted to do something with you, we can build an onboarding program. We got one of our products, we onboard many hundreds and sometimes thousands of people at a time around the world.
Sure.
Is that we train you to a certain component of the onboarding process?
Yeah, there's different aspects to what we do. So we provide 24/7 live chat monitoring. So we have a team of agents that basically work on behalf of our clients. We've got set scripting and set knowledge bases, and we assist them with online lead capture and online customer service. So frequently asked questions and helping people in the path to purchase or path to inquiry. We also have some clients who are a little bit larger where we set up dedicated teams. So depending on what they need from us, we try and fulfill that. We've got a very large retail client doing a sale event with us in a few weeks' time, to where we'll provide a team of agents that 24/7, 24/3, 3 days, 24-hour service for their sale event to help all of their customers log into the site using a code, and they got very specific needs as to what they need us to do. So again, it's about we can work in with any client's needs, whether that's, we need you specifically to be able to explain this product or help them on the sales journey to get to the online purchase. We can fulfill that as well. It sort of depends. Our basic service is customer service and lead generation, but anything more specific we can accommodate as well with dedicated teams.
Any other questions? Dione?
Your monitoring staff, are they based in Australia or overseas?
So we've got a bit of a combination. The majority of them are in Manila. So we set up initially with a US base. So we had about 20 agents in the US, which was outsourced from another company. And what I found very early on was the quality wasn't what I needed it to be. Response times wasn't quick enough. I had a few staff over in Manila at the time, and we ended up essentially shifting the office over there. So we run our own office, our own operations. We don't outsource anything anymore. Everything is through our own operations. We've got a team over in Manila, and then we've got a few agents here in Australia still who just work on specific accounts. So we have some clients come to us and say, look, we only want Australian-based agents. We sort of talk them through what that actually means, and because of the way we operate, it doesn't actually matter where the agents are operated, but some clients insist on it, and obviously the pricing is very different, but we can provide that as well. But certainly for 99.9% of our clients, they operate out of the Manila team. So.
And the world is becoming a very small village, and we've got to embrace that. Juliet?
Sorry, just to clarify, do you do people answering calls as well, or is it
Just live chat.
Yeah.
Just live chat. So, and again, I guess in that sense, that's where it doesn't really come into where the team's based. There's no accents that you hear. Yeah, all of our staff are ex AOL, American Express, ANZ, Telstra. They're incredibly well trained. 10 out of 10 English. We've got very, very strict quality control in place with who we hire, how they're trained. So yeah, but chat based. We don't offer phone support.
And one more question, Martin.
Yeah, how did you transition from, because you mentioned that you had previously perhaps used an outsourced organisation to facilitate the offshore resources.
Sure.
How did you get up and running with your own centres? We've found in our experience too, and what we've worked with our clients, is the way you've done it is absolutely the way to do it. Is you
Sure.
have to actually run your own shop overseas.
Yeah.
How did you get that up and running?
Look, it was a difficult period in the transition, and we had a good provider, but again, it wasn't to the quality that we wanted. It was a good service. We wanted a great service. So the transition was difficult, and it certainly took a couple of months to facilitate, and it ended up being literally utilising both. We set up a very small team ourselves, and then through that began to transition, adding more people to the team, transitioning accounts across. Fortunately, the provider was very accommodating and assisted us in the transition. There wasn't a definitive cut-off day. So it took probably a 2-3 month period to transition them across, but one that just had to be done. It ended up being a great move. I think when you've got that complete control over your team, and so the quality and the training and the development of them, I don't see any other way of doing it.
Yeah, culture, even in the outsource model, needs to be paramount. The culture that gets, on the public-facing aspect of your business, whether it's a team in the Philippines or the Ukraine or India for that matter, makes no difference. The culture that gets delivered must be the culture that's owned, and it's one of the biggest games in business right now. And I don't think many of us understand it to the degree we need to. I think many of us try and discount the importance of culture and what is right and what is not right. What are the rules of our game and how we treat not only our customers, but our team, our suppliers, and sometimes even the business owners and the key stakeholders. You know, every one of you has to be either a +1 and definitely not a -1. Does that make sense? There's only 2 scores when it comes to people in your business. They're either +1 or -1. There's no sugarcoating the truth, guys. You either are or you're not. I think you need to be very, very mindful of, if you're going to invest, and I also understand the research and development that goes on in this business and the investment that's made in the back end for what's coming. Again, it's why it's going to be, and it continues to be, a front runner in this very new and recent, I guess, option for businesses for outsourcing. So very cool. Want to thank Gavin. Thank you. I know it's not. I want to thank Gavin for being open and honest, and sometimes it's not easy, particularly if you're in a, what could be, let's go and copy that. That sounds like a great idea. Let's go and do that one. You know what I mean? But the thing that separates the copycats from the genuine are the people that actually follow through on being serious about what they do versus let's just take the opportunity and make the most of it, and you ruin reputation. So we're just going to do a very quick stage change. I'm going to finish off in the next 10 minutes with, again, just a little more further thought process around the fusion of traditional and digital. Thank you, Gavin. We have a gift for you. Thanks for your contribution to the M500 community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.